From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Wearing a mask in public now mandatory in the state of Montana. Coming up, the governor explains why that decision was made. Plus, we look at the loopholes in the order.
5 businesses damaged, 4 of them total losses after a devastating fire spread from one shop to another. I'm Cody Boyer in Gardiner, here on scene with the latest details.
Just ahead of 6:30 back here on your Thursday edition of Montana This Morning, Caitlin Corbett and Chet Lehman. The sun is up, starting to warm up those temperatures today heading into the weekend.
Yes, it is. That's where we were at. Clear skies overnight. Look at this shot right now.
Beautiful.
Happy Thursday, Mining City. That's what
Indeed.
You're looking at. Your planner for today. We're going to block it out and show you temperatures into the low 80s, which is about where you should be for this time of year. Here's your live shot from the Montana State University campus. Wow, lovely. Get out and enjoy it while you can. Temperature's going to warm up into the mid to upper 80s in the Bozeman area today. A little warmer tomorrow and then a little cooler for the weekend. Maybe, just maybe, a chance of a shower. All those details, Caitlin, coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Chet. Face masks, of course, now mandatory in the state of Montana, but that order from Governor Steve Bullock does have some restrictions. MTN's Mike Dennison has all the details.
For weeks, Governor Bullock and other Montana leaders have been urging people to wear face masks in public to slow the spread of COVID-19 infections. But on a day when Montana reported 145 new cases, a new daily high, Bullock said it's time to take it a step further.
Unfortunately, it's become clear that we need to do more, and that asking folks to do the right thing just isn't always going to be enough.
With that, the governor said, effective immediately, face masks will be required at businesses and public buildings in counties that have more than 4 active cases. As of Wednesday, the order applies in 23 of Montana's 56 counties, including its 8 most populous counties and some rural counties as well. The number of new cases reported Wednesday surged by 72 in Gallatin County, which now has 242 active cases, and by 27 in Yellowstone County, with 396 active cases. Bullock said enforcement shouldn't have to be heavy-handed, but that it also shouldn't be a big ask for Montanans to follow the rules.
No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service. It's that simple. I can't say enough about just how easy it is to wear a mask. You saw me take mine off before speaking today. Just like how we put a seatbelt on when we get in the car and unbuckle it when we need to get out.
The governor noted that Montanans have plenty of reasons to comply, like the health and safety of fellow citizens and the future economic health of the state.
Montanans need to not only feel safe, but to be safe, to continue supporting small businesses like restaurants and breweries, clothing stores, bookshops, and more. And Montanans need to be healthy to work.
Schools got some news from the governor too on Wednesday. He's earmarking $75 million of coronavirus relief funds to help public schools cover COVID-19 mitigation costs when they reopen this year. Aid will be available for private schools as well. Governor Bullock also said he hopes his directive today means that in 3 or 4 weeks, when we all mask up, that we can start talking about a downward trend in the COVID-19 numbers. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The other big story of the day is recovery for the community of Gardiner after a fire ripped through several businesses downtown. That fire started on Tuesday, burned through the night, and crews still fought yesterday to put out the hot spots. MTN's Cody Boyer shows us the destruction and how the community is coming together.
5 businesses in downtown Gardiner impacted, 4 of them total losses, many of which had apartments with people inside them above. Those that were here say it started in 2-Bit Saloon, then spread quickly.
It's heartbreaking. What a big piece of history we've just lost.
It's a scene that Gardiner has not seen in decades. Flames licking up and out of 4 businesses leaping from building to building.
2020 just keeps punching, it seems like.
One of Park County Sheriff Brad Bickler's deputies drove by 2-Bit Saloon when he says an employee ran to him for help.
He went inside with just, minimal fire suppression stuff that we carry in our patrol vehicles, tried to do what he could with it, but unfortunately it was too much fire.
The deputy's attention turned upward above the saloon and the Yellowstone Raft Company. apartments filled with people.
Just community members that were trying to do as much as we could, or they could, to try to help suppress the fire, get people out safely.
The fire gutted the saloon, filtering into the Raft Company, then Rosie's Bistro behind it. Red's Blue Goose Saloon soon followed. Meanwhile, fires burned in the basement of Rosie's Bistro for hours.
It was mind-boggling. You just saw smoke at first.
Leslie Dare is the secretary of Gardiner Community Church and a waitress at the Yellowstone mine.
I feel for the people who own these buildings. I feel for our town that we lost all of this.
She says the response on Facebook was staggering.
The Gardiner Market is donating food. They've been donating water and Gatorade for all the first responders. Wonderland last night made like 60 burgers that they had their employees running them out.
Others stepped up too. Xanterra and other hotels donated towels and toiletries. People began donating clothes, and other businesses joined in support.
If there's a community that can stand in the face of adversity and stand back up, it's this community for sure.
The Gardiner Pharmacy and Yellowstone Perk also damaged with smoke and water, but no one was hurt. Businesses nearby remain open, something both the sheriff and Leslie say is not a shock to them at all.
It's so wonderful to see how everybody just wants to help.
In Gardiner, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
The sheriff there says the area will be closed off for some time. As for helping out in other ways, community members tell us you can do that by continuing to support local businesses that are open nearby. Several fires have hit the town of Gardiner in the past. Back in January of 1935, there was a fire on Main Street. This picture is from the Yellowstone National Park Heritage and Research Center. The fire burned a business, apartments, and part of a hotel. Then in the fall of 1985, the Gardiner High School burned. Belgrade native John Overstreet was the principal there and coach at the time. The current superintendent of Yellowstone National Park, Cam Shawley, was a senior at school that year. You might remember the devastating Yellowstone National Park fires during the summer of 1988. The Fan Fire was part of that and was at first considered a threat to Gardiner. Well, there's another walk away at the Beaupre Relief Center. 54-year-old Craig Britton, seen in this photo right here, walked away from the center sometime yesterday. Britton is from Muscle County and was serving time for possession of dangerous drugs. He is 5 feet 6 inches tall, 165 pounds. He has tattoos on his right arm, forearm, shoulder, and above his heart. If you've seen Britton or know where he is, you are asked to notify law enforcement immediately. Meantime, the Manhattan man accused of hitting and killing a 76-year-old man while he was out for a walk and then leaving the scene and making up a story to cover it up is going to prison for quite a while. Michael Moreno will spend the next 30 years in prison, with 6 of those suspended for that vehicular homicide charge. He also gets an additional 10 years for leaving the scene of a serious injury or death. Moreno admitted to vehicular homicide in the death of longtime Manhattan farmer Truman Emmelkamp. And officials at Yellowstone National Park say rangers there shot and killed a black bear that had become habituated to humans. This happened on Monday, July 6th, after the bear entered a family's campsite, bit a woman, and then nipped at the hand of one of the children. The bear then began eating the family's food, and by the time rangers arrived on horseback, that bear was still in the campground, still eating the food. That's when the decision was made to kill the bear. Last year, staff at the park responded to multiple incidents of bears exhibiting habituated behavior. Certainly something that we experience here a lot in Montana.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's one of those things that does happen from time to time. And once they become habituated, then it's
very hard to break that.
It's tough on the bears, yeah.
And as we said earlier, we did have that one good story recently with the grizzly bear. So sometimes, you know, it goes
more often than not, it doesn't, though. That's why we need to be more careful.
Exactly. We always want to make sure we're locking that food up, keeping all the scented, smelly things away, and
that's right.
Hopefully things like that won't happen.
Correct.
6:38 now. We're going to take a break, but the pandemic may be hurting lots of businesses. A new report, though, says home selling is not one of them. After the break, find out what's going on in the real estate markets. First, though, here's a look at what's happening at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, lingering effects of the coronavirus. You're going to hear from COVID survivors who still have serious physical and mental symptoms months after they tested negative. Also, Gail talks to Jeffrey Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts-Giuffre. You're going to hear why she believes Ghislaine Maxwell is worse than Epstein and why she thinks Maxwell's life could be in danger. And in our More Perfect Union series, meet the LA photographer who found hope on a journey to capture America under quarantine. We'll see you at 7.